All right, got an update for you guys. So got the truss rod routed in. Looks great, perfect fit. I got the truss rod access routed in. I do have this one little issue going on here. This was cut on a table saw, so the angle is perfect right here on this corner. Where this angle meets this angle, they come together right there at the corner perfectly. But if you look down here where the line is versus where the angle comes off the wood, I got about maybe 3/32 of an inch right there. So I got to clean this up with the block plane to flatten that out. No big deal. That's I think that's everything I did to the neck. I got the rough shape. I used the belt sander, the oscillating belt sander, to clean that up. So no sled there. Still not quite perfect. You can see it's got like a little bit of a thing going on right there, but we're far from done shaping this neck. But I also got the inlays done on the fretboard. Here's what that looks like. So this is epoxy resin with mica powder in it. I won't use the liquid tint because it thins out the resin and it can make it dry soft and it'll never ever get as hard as it's going to get. So I use the mica powder and it prevents that problem from happening. So this will get as hard as glass when it cures. This is the here's the epoxy resin. There's the epoxy resin that I use there. It's not cheap, but I never use it in large quantities, so I always have it around. It's great for this kind of stuff too. The last inlay I did were the birds, and I kept breaking those little tiny bits, and I wanted something a little more plain, but also a little bit elegant. And I think I achieved that here. We'll see once we get it sanded down how it looks. So I left the fretboard square so that when I cut this off, all my fret markers are still coming 90 degrees off of the center line of the neck. So once we sand that down and then cut it, they'll still come 90 degrees, and all these edges, all these round ends of them will run right down the center of the fretboard. So my 12th fret marker, I put a black epoxy resin background, and while it was wet, I set my initials in there. Those are just those little charms you buy at Hobby Lobby where I clip off the little hoop on the end and file it down so it's nice and smooth. I almost put them in upside down. But luckily I caught myself. Got to be careful not to get resin on top of these because it's black, and then I have to finish filling it up with clear. Then when I radius the whole fretboard, hopefully I left it deep enough. It's about 1.5 millimeters left on there. So hopefully after I pour the clear and then radius this board, hopefully I'm not gonna sand into those letters. We'll see. If I do, I'll have to dig them out and router that deeper and kind of start that 12th fret marker all over again. But to do these, I just made a simple jig out of just pieces of wood that I had laying around. I'll show you the jig. Here's the jig. So it's just a couple of scrap pieces of wood glued together, and here's how it works. So the jig goes on here, on the fretboard. I don't want to put it on the fretboard because the epoxy is still soft, but if this were the fretboard, it would just go on the fretboard like that. I put a clamp on it, and then I run my router table, pretend this is my router table. I run my router table down along this edge until I hit that stop right there. And that ensures that they all stop right dead in the middle of the fretboard. So I'll wait a couple more hours for this to harden up a bit. Then I'll pour the clear on top of that. Then I got to wait probably 2 days for it to harden up before I can cut it and radius it and all that. Here's a piece of something that I picked up today. This is a piece of ABS 3.5-inch sewer pipe. And that is going to be part of this guitar. So look up Rick Turner guitars and you'll quickly figure out what I bought this piece for. But we'll get to that when we get to it. I'll show you guys my plan for that when we get there. So a little bit of progress today. And that's all I got for today, guys. So peace.